Let's go to the main menu and click Tools. In the search box at the top, type in Manager. Then below, locate under the Content menu, Sermon Manager, and click that option. The Sermon Manager tool is new to Logos 9, and it can be an overwhelming tool with all the information presented here. So the first thing you want to do is try to only show the information that you essentially need. To control the content of the various columns, go to the far right and click the Show Hide Columns button located here. It's the 3 vertical lines. A list has appeared. Now, whatever is checked, that column is visible. Whatever is unchecked, that column is not visible. One thing that's handy about this particular menu, you can click on any item and the menu will remain open. Now down below is the Calendars option. Go ahead and click to expand that choice. Now the first option really is the most important, and that is Holidays, United States. This is real handy when you are putting together a calendar for the whole year. You'll see Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, and other important holidays to remind you in advance of these special events. Now, in my list below the holidays, United States, you're going to see some different items. Your list may be different, or you may not have any at all. These are people and groups I'm following at faithlife.com. So should they make an event, it would be noted on my calendar if I have selected them to be shown in my Sermon Manager tool. My advice is, unless you're part of a very active group that has a lot of activities on a calendar, only include and select the holidays calendar. Once you've selected the columns to be displayed and the calendar, let's go ahead and close this menu by clicking once again on the 3 vertical lines located here at the far right. Now, each column is sortable, so you can click on the week column and sort by dates earlier to latest, or latest to earliest. You can click on passages and sort it canonically, Genesis to Revelation, or Revelation to Genesis. Let's go ahead and click on the column label week to change how it's sorted. Now, as you add more sermon documents, you're going to have the need to search for those sermons. Anything that's in the columns, in other words, all the column content is fully searchable. So you can search by date, venue, title, passages, speaker, etc. Let's go ahead and click in the search box located here at the top left. Now, I recently preached a sermon from Revelation chapter 20, verses 1 through 10, and one of the words in the title was Shiloh. Now, your sermon list will be different, so you'll have to search on some other term. If you don't have any sermon documents, then just sit back and watch so you can see how this works. So I've typed in Shiloh. Logos searched all the columns for this content. It found one sermon, and you can see it listed below. Now, there are 2 ways to clear your search results. First, you can click on the X in the search box, or below, you'll see the All option, and you'll see the little X next to Find, and that allows you to select specific criteria that you wish to remove. So be aware that both ways can clear out the filter so you can once again see all your sermons. I'm going to go ahead and click on the X in the search box located here. Not only can you search by content, but you also can search by date range. Let's click on this drop-down menu labeled All. Notice the various options below in the menu and the ability to select between calendar and liturgical. Since this sermon was produced in 2020, I'm going to select 2020 from the menu. Here's a list of the various sermon documents that I created in 2020. Now, there's one more option at the top, and currently we're set to week grid. This is to control the viewing of our sermon documents. We're in the grid view. Go ahead and click this menu option. There are 2 choices, grid view, which is our current view, and radial calendar. Go ahead and choose radial calendar. The radial view at first blush can be quite overwhelming, but let me explain how to interpret this visual information. So first, you'll notice that the calendar starts at the top center and goes clockwise. Second, you'll notice that there are some dark gray vertical lines, those represent a single sermon document. You'll notice that some of the squares are colored. This represents a series. So when you use the same series name and you're preaching a series week in and week out, you'll see the colored squares span multiple squares. On the outer peripheral, you'll see an individual colored circle. This represents a holiday. In the center, that is the preview window. So when you float your mouse over a series or a sermon or a holiday, the white circle will inform you what your mouse is hovering over. Let's go over to the right and click the information button located here. The information window has opened at the right, and this is the data that you entered in your sermon document. So when you're floating your mouse over a particular sermon, you'll be able to see these details at the right. Now let's go to the far left and click on the hamburger menu, the three horizontal lines at the left. The filter window has opened at the left. Now, I love this tool because I can search for particular sermons based on the series, venue, service, topics, passages, etc. Now let's go over to the right and click on the calendar button as seen here. Here's a list of the calendars, and you saw this before with the sermon documents training video. We have the holidays, US first, and then below are the list of faith life groups that I am the administrator of, and I can have those calendars displayed as well. For this video, let's just simply click on Holidays United States. A blue ring has appeared in our radial map. Inside the blue ring, you'll see some dark blue lines. Those represent specific holidays. If you float your mouse over those blue lines, you can see which holiday is being specified. Go ahead and click Holidays United States again, and it will become deselected and the blue ring will disappear. Now let's go ahead and close the calendar window by clicking on the button labeled Calendars located here. Let's click in the search box located here at the top left. Now I've typed in Shiloh, which is part of a title of a sermon in my sermon document library. Notice I only have one ring. Now in some search results, you may see visually more than one ring. And this can include other speakers and different preaching times. So be aware that multiple rings usually means some information is different and therefore they're not grouped together in the same ring. Let's go ahead and click on the X in the search box to clear our search criteria. Let's go ahead and change our view back to the grid view. Therefore, click here on the radial icon. Please click Week Grid as seen here. Another feature that is hidden in the Sermon Manager is when you select more than one sermon at a time. So I'm going to click on the first sermon so that it's highlighted in gray. Holding down the Control button for PC or Command for the Mac, click on the second sermon in your list as seen here. By the way, when you hold the Control button down or the Command button down, you can select individual sermons. If you hold the Shift button down and click one item and then click the second item, whatever is between those two items, all of them will be selected. Now that we have two sermons selected, you will notice that the information window at the right puts in the word various in the various boxes. This is to let you know that you now can type information in the boxes at the right, and that will be applied to all the sermon documents. So essentially, this allows you to update the metadata for the sermons quite easily. First, select all the sermons you wish to change the metadata for, then go into the boxes at the right and make those changes. So I'm going to click in the speaker box, type in my name, and then press enter, and that will change all the sermons to have my name as the speaker. Now there's one last feature of the Sermon Manager that's important to know about, especially if you teach and preach and use the sermon document tool on a regular basis. It's up here at the top. Now notice right now the default is blank sermon. Go ahead and click on blank sermon. A menu appears. First, you can search for templates. So you can create templates, as we mentioned in the sermon document tool, and they will be listed here. Then we have the blank sermon option, which literally means you'll create a blank sermon. Then we have the templates that you have created, And then we have lectionaries. Go ahead and click on lectionaries below. Let's click Show More to see all our lectionaries. Now, should you choose a lectionary for this particular feature, it will create a sermon document based on the passage for the particular time period you choose. Let's scroll back up to the top of this menu. I'm going to choose my expository sermon template. By the way, you can download that by going to Docs Public and searching for that particular document. After you choose your template or your liturgical resource, you then need to choose the time frame. Let's go ahead and click here in Selected Week. A calendar has appeared. I'm going to choose the 20th of December. Notice we can't choose future dates. By the way, at the far left, you will see the number 1. So when you're creating these new empty sermons based on a template or a blank sermon or based on a liturgical resource, you can actually create more than one template at one time. I'm currently set to 1. Now let's go to the far right and click the Add button to create our new sermon document. Our new sermon document has been created and added to our list. By the way, at the far right, you'll see a little yellow label, and this is to tell you the status of the sermon. In this case, it's upcoming. Next, let's click on the title of this new sermon document. Our new sermon document has opened up at the right. In closing, unfortunately, Logos does not give you the ability to export this grid view.